Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Fix This House. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you 4 tips and tricks on how you can fix gaps on your floating floors, such as vinyl plank flooring, laminate flooring, or even engineered wood type flooring. So I want you to stay tuned. So thank you for tuning in once again. I'm Jay from Fix This House. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing the subscribe and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some 4 tips and tricks on how we can fix these gaps on my vinyl plank flooring. So this is actually one of my kids' rooms. They do a lot of running around here, sliding, jumping. They ride their toy cars here and there. So eventually, over time, it's going to start shifting because it is a floating floor. There's the first gap that we want to try to close right there. Before we actually show you that first step, I want you to clean out the gap right here. So because over time, you're going to have a buildup that's going to be going here. Dust, dirt is going to start accumulating in these cracks. So what you're going to do is going to try, what I'm going to be using are these toothpicks. I like using toothpicks because if you use some type of metal, like, I don't know, like a screwdriver or some kind of knife, there's a chance that you might scratch up your floor. But with a wooden pick like this, you can easily just, dig out the dirt and grime between the flooring, and you don't risk damaging your floor or scratching it. Start vacuuming the cracks. The very first tip that I want you to show you guys to try to fix this is try to use your shoes first. If you have nice grippy shoes like this, to test it out, when you make contact with the floor, you can see that it doesn't slide. It has a nice grip on the bottom. So make sure you have those nice type of shoes. And we're going to try to just push it and kick it out. We're just going to kick it out forward like this and see if we can get it to close. Sometimes these planks get so loose over time that you can actually do this easily. But in this case, you can tell that this floor has a nice tight fit. So it does. There's actually 2 cracks right here. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It might budge a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to try doing this step first, so to save you some trouble and time. So if that shoe trick doesn't work, I want you guys to try this tip number 2. If you get one of these grip pads, like what you see here, this one you can actually buy in a roll. You can grab one from your toolbox. The one I'm getting actually comes from my toolbox. You can just grab a piece, cut a little piece of chunk like this. This is actually where you can, put on your cabinets to prevent stuff from rolling around or shifting. These are fairly cheap. Go check out in your local hardware store, but I'll leave a link on the description down below. All the tools that I use on this video, actually, I'll leave it in the description down below so you can actually access them and make it easier for you. Okay, so go grab one of these, and what you're gonna go grab is a 2x4, a little piece of wood like this. It doesn't have to be a 2x4, any type of wood. But here I got a little spare tube, about a 12-inch 2x4 that we can use to lay down on top of this grip. So let me show you this trick. You can see that when you put the 2x4 on top of it, it doesn't shift. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna put some weight on the top. Just 1 foot should be fine. You can put your whole body into it. 1 foot like this should be fine, and putting like a little bit of weight, a little bit of your body weight, put your elbow onto it so that you can have enough room. Well, I highly suggest that you use a rubber mallet. Don't use just a regular hammer, because if you have a regular hammer, it's made out of steel, and if you miss the floor on tapping this, you could possibly just dent your floor or possibly make some damage on your flooring. So rubber mallet is highly recommended so that if you do miss, you're not gonna end up scratching your floor. There you have it. Just took a couple of taps for that thing to close. All right, so if tip number 2 doesn't work for you, I got tip number 3, which is actually my least favorite, is because you'll know why in a bit, and that's using double-sided tape, and again, use your 2x4 piece. Now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna tape this. Now, again, this third tip and trick method is my least favorite. The reason being is that when you put tape on this, it's gonna it's a little hard to take off the plank, and I'll show you that in a bit. So what you want to do is you want to take your 2x4, get your double-sided tape, and run a piece of double-sided tape on top of that 2x4, and then just cut it just like this. Press nice and firmly on this. Now you can use your rubber mallet to press really well on it, just like that. Now this double-sided tape is really stubborn. Now you're actually figuring out why this is my least favorite out of all the tips, the 4 tips and tricks that I'm showing you. We got actually another gap here, right there, that we want to take out. So let's close this door for a sec. You want to make sure that your surface here is clean. So if you have like a wet rag, just give it a nice wipe so that the adhesive on this doesn't fade out. Now that's another thing why I don't like this method that much, is because if you have a bunch of these gaps right here and you put it right here, this tends to get dirty. Given you can wipe it off with a wet rag and wait for a little bit for the tackiness to kick back in, or you have to take this off and put another strip of double-sided tape. It gets pretty hard to take off, and you might have to end up using this little tiny pry bar to try to pry this piece of wood off. Sometimes the double-sided tape will stick to the floor when you take out the wood, and you might end up having to try to scrape it off, and while using the scraper, there's a possibility that you might end up scratching your floor with this metal scraper. But if you have a plastic scraper, that's a different story. But again, it's just too much hassle, but let's see if it does work. So let's place it on top. Okay, no movement right there. So if you watch some of my vinyl plank flooring install videos, I use these tools a lot. I have a pull bar and this mallet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this pull bar on the end right here, because we don't have any room to tap it. This is gonna act as a hitting plate right there, so we can close that off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna step on this for a little bit, and let's see if we can try to tap this gap off right here. See that? It's already starting to close. Boom. Let's try to pull this piece off. So as you can see this? Right when I'm starting to pull this off, you can see that, I don't know if you could see it, but the vinyl plank flooring is actually starting to lift a little bit. Since this is a floating floor, you can see that there's already movement. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. You see that? The vinyl plank flooring is starting to move on the edge. Given I haven't put baseboards on this yet, so don't mind that. But it's actually, yeah, moving along with it because it's stuck in there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your mini pry bar right here and just carefully remove it from there, and just try to, carefully pry it off. Again, this is the least method that I like, but there you go. It's actually, I'm lucky. It was actually starting to peel off a little bit on this edge right here, but it still has some tack to it, and you can move on to the next one. This is good if you're just gonna fix one plank, but if you have multiple planks that you need to fix, I think the fourth method is the best one yet. You might want to have a whole roll of double-sided tape if you are going to use this method for plenty of planks, but in this case, if you're just going to do one, I don't mind you using just this method right here. And if you have a really close strip right here with a 6-inch piece, get a smaller piece of wood and do the same concept. Use your pull bar like this, put a little bit of tape right here, not on the whole thing, but put a little bit of strip right here, and then put it on the edge right there, and then tap it on to there. That's only if you have a little small piece. That's tip number 3. That's the least one that I like out of all the tips, but it actually is very effective. But the most effective one that I believe is tip number 4, and I'll show you right now. So tip number 4 on fixing gaps between your vinyl flooring, laminate, or engineered wood, or floating floor, whatever you want to call it. This is actually my favorite one, and it's using this suction tool right here. This is actually used for, you know, for multiple purposes. You can use this to lift up cabinets, as long as it has a nice clean surface, and you can use this to actually, you know, remove glass or carefully move glass around right here. But you can also use it for vinyl plank flooring or any flooring that has a nice smooth surface. On this case, this has a nice smooth surface. It might not work if you have a profile that's a raised profile on your vinyl plank flooring, and that means that if it has the gaps on your, if you have that wooden profile texture on your flooring, this might not grip because it might have some air bubbles underneath there. But this is perfect for smooth surface laminate flooring and vinyl flooring, just like what I have here. Now, this is so easy to use. Make sure you have a nice clean surface. It doesn't have to be super clean. Just wipe it with your hand. Wipe this if it's dusty. Place it on the floor, and then with these levers, press down on it so it has a nice suction onto the floor. And one of the ends right here, all you gotta do is use your rubber mallet and tap it in. See that? Let me show you a quick close-up on that, closing up right there. Easy. Closes up fast. So if you have a bunch of these gaps that you need to do in a quick amount of time, all you gotta do is suction it, tap, 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 take out the levers, move, and then move on to the next plank. Especially once you start moving one plank, the other side is gonna, it's like a stair step effect, a domino effect. The other side's gonna have a gap, so you're gonna keep moving along the line. Move on, tap, move on to, then keep moving, tap, tap, tap. So this is actually one of the best methods, I think, in my opinion, that will make the job, you know, go faster and efficient. All right, so all this tools that I use here, I'll leave it in the description down below, and you can go check that out. All right, friends, so that's pretty much this whole video. I hope you found value. I hope this helped you out a lot. Again, you can use any for these methods. Again, if you want to try the shoe method first, there's no harm on doing that. That'll actually the quickest, cheapest, and best way to try it out first. If it works, it works. But if it doesn't, try out the other three methods. Again, best method is using the suction and this rubber mallet trick. But overall, any of them work. It's just depending on your liking. Okay, friends, so I hope you found value to this. If you did, please hit that big thumbs up. Press the subscribe button and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. And again, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.